Hello and welcome. You're watching Don Bosco Media Network. This is Abigail Carmelim bringing to you the Salesian news across the globe. The part of in-depth study on the theme of General Chapter 28 of the Salesian congregation has reached its 5th appointment. What Salesians for today's young people? On March 20th, Dr. Andrea Bozzolo, Professor of Marriage and Family Theology at the John Paul II Institute in Rome and at the International Institute Don Bosco in Turin, Crocetta, will speak on the theme Affectivity and Eucharist for an itinerary of education for love. The Eucharistic celebration is a matter concerning the body and bodies which meet, this is my body, take it, but also affections condensed around the experience of consummated marriage that generates life. How to enter the educational paths that prepare for physical self-donation. What does the Eucharist have to do with these paths? What difficulties do we have to face in order to keep the two together? These will be some of the questions that the Salesian teacher will answer. The interview is part of a series of meetings organized by the Study Center Living Tabernacles in collaboration with the Conference of Salesian Provinces of Italy Training Sector. The COVID-19 pandemic has motivated many educators in Salesian circles to seek alternative or innovative teaching methods in the field of virtual teaching. The traditional method of teaching, in fact, was not enough to capture the interest of students, especially boys and girls who were behind a computer, tablet or mobile phone. It is in this scenario that initiatives such as that of Tatiana Pesantes, a teacher of the Salesian Technical Educational Unit, Campus Carlos Crespi in Cuenca, who is a therapeutic educational psychologist. She gave life to a character called Pipo the High Monkey. The character was born during the celebration of Children's Day 2020 and then became her teaching companion in the course of religion and human dignity. On that occasion, to celebrate the children, the institution had prepared an online event and Tatiana was part of the group of animators. It was then that she remembered that she had a stuffed monkey in her closet and that he was the ideal character for the date. She didn't think twice. She started making him a dress and unexpectedly she reminded of the name Pipo the High Monkey. The plush was a childhood gift that her aunt gave her, and already her father, Homero Pesantes, animated through games and the modulation of different voices. For this reason, Pipo has a strong affective value for her and now puts in at the service of her 3rd and 5th graders thanks to what she learned from her father. The Don Bosco Institute and the adjoining Salesian Vocational Training Center in Mbomand, Yaoundé, Cameroon, host more than 1,000 students and 100 teachers on a daily basis. The spaces of the school and the center are also used on weekends for the activities of the parish and the youth center dedicated to Mary Help of Christians for a total of about 4,000 people who uses these spaces regularly. For this reason, ensuring adequate continuous cleaning and disinfection of environments cannot be an option but an obligation in times of pandemic. Now, thanks to the funding of Salesian Missions, the Salesian Missionary Prosecutor's Office in New Rochelle, the Center of Mbomand can guarantee for several months a safe place to study, play and grow. A fish farming project was developed earlier this year in the Salesian Mission among the indigenous Bororo near Meruri. This pesca harvest carried out in recent days has produced more than half a ton of fish that, in addition to being a source of protein for the indigenous people of Meruri, which will also allow through the sale of the product to buy the sofas, the newborns of fish and thus to continue the project in the future. The aim of the fisheries project is to provide options for increasing the income and quality of life of women who are part of the Ereme Association and their families. The Ereme Association consists of just over 60 indigenous women of the Boroko ethnic group who have teamed up to jointly manage projects and activities for the strengthening and development of the local community. The project was fully supported by the Salesian Mission of Mato Grosso, province of Basil Campo Grande, BCG, which purchased 33,000 sofas for the start of the activity. With foresight and entrepreneurial spirit, project managers have brought 27,000 fish to full development for the first season, leaving about 5,000 for the following season. In addition to fish, the province BCG also procured the feed and paid for the technical assistance of professionals in the sector, transport for the sale and hiring of a full-time employee to help in the management of fish with a total investment of almost 50,000 Rias, over 7,500 euros in this project in support of indigenous women. The Salesian province of Colombia, Bogota, COB, received from 5 to 9 March the visit of Mr. Carlos de Carce, director of the NGO Red Deporte of Spain, to evaluate together the possibility of developing projects in favor of the Salesian mission. The aim of the visit was to promote the social works of the COB province. For this reason, the visit, coordinated by the Office of Management for Provincial Development and the Sector of Preferential Option of Youth Pastoral Care, was focused on 5 works especially dedicated to children at risk: Leon the 13th, Juan Bosco Obrero, Nino Jesus, Porvenir and Norte de Santander. At the end of the visit, the director of the NGO highlighted the humanity perceived in each of the Salesian presences visited, the importance of the Salesian work and the value of the work carried out by Salesians and lay people. Finally, possible proposals for joint work have been designed. On March 6, the first training session for 7 aspirants of the Salesian Missionary Volunteer VMS took place at the Salesian Opera in Colima in different local, summer and annual ways. The participants, mostly of the Salesian Youth Movement MGS, had in a socialization meeting organized by the Salesian trainee Miguel Ponce in presence at the Fray Pedro School in compliance with anti-contagion security measures. For Colima Salesian work, it is very important to collaborate in the training of volunteers, and that is why this accompanying proposal, School for Volunteers, was born, to where young people receive the necessary tools to respond to their mission in accordance with lines of the VMS of the province of Mexico, Guadalajara, MEG. Since the beginning of Lent, the Salesian Missionary Prosecutor's Office in Warsaw, together with Sister Maria Tomalewska, FMA, and Don Pavel Libor, SDB, has led the initiative, If You Want, You Can't Help Me, with the aim of helping the sick and malnourished people of Luanda. Sister Tomalewska, who has worked in Angola for 10 years and knows the situations of so many people in need, described their stories and sends information about their needs. Albertina is albino and has cancer. Maria has had surgery. Morio asks for food. Vasco has had an accident and needs a wheelchair. These are just some of the stories of people who wanted to share their lives and suffering. The Salesian Missionary Prosecutor's Office in Warsaw and the FMA want to provide them with the food and care they need. The food packages that will be prepared include chicken, sausages, beans, rice, corn, flour, sugar, milk, oil, as well as soap and disinfectant. The sick will have the necessary medicines and equipment, and they will be paid for medical treatment. Piero Ramello is a Salesian coadjutor originally from Piedmont, having entered the novitiate of Pinerolo at the age of 19. He has always served the young people in need of his province. Until last year, at the age of 56, he accepted the challenge of leaving as a missionary for a land where the lives of Christians are not always easy, Pakistan. Here's how he describes his first approach with the new country and the new mission. Little by little, I am learning something about Pakistani culture, which has very pleasant and some rather tiring aspects for us Westerners. Among those pleasant, apart from the kindness of people, which is extraordinary, what strikes most coming from a secularized society is widespread religiosity. Moreover, it cannot be otherwise. Religion permeates the whole of society. 7 times a day, the loudspeakers of the mosque announce the prayer, and the city in those moments stop. Many customs and traditions are linked to religious meanings. Many books or speeches, even of a secular nature, begin in the name of Allah. When it happens to dialogue on the important things of life, even on big labors such as serious diseases, the discussion punctuality expresses great trust in God and submission to His will. Christians are no less. When they pray, for example, even before meals, you feel that they are doing something important and they are proud to do so. On the altar of St. Joseph in the Basilica of Mary Help of Christians in Turin, there is a large painting by the painter Lorenzoni representing the Holy Family. It is an invitation for every Salesian work to be a family and the educational style to be based on family relationship, but also an invitation to recover the spiritual and educational centrality of St. Joseph in a world that so much needs Father. Two writings appear in the canvas. The invitation to Ite to Joseph, go to St. Joseph, in the ribbon supported by angels, and then in the eardrums trebuchet the biblical verse, Constitutum Dominum Domus Suae, that is, he constitutes. Maybe this is wonderful. Jesus, in addition certainly to referring to Mary, Don Bosco remembers the figure of St. Joseph. That is why, as the inscription says, it is necessary to go to Joseph, not to stop at him, but to be accompanied to Jesus. After all, who more than one father can lead to his own child? A father who at the same time is also an antipapa of all the son and disciple. Perhaps for this very reason, Don Bosco wanted him lord of his house. The Don Bosco Technological Institute Leadership Camp 2021 was held on the 5th to the 6th of March 2021 with the theme Servant Leaders Rise to the Occasion. The event brought together all the leaders from numerous classes, interest clubs and cultural groups in the institution for a two-day camp. The young leaders engaged themselves in team-building activities that would instill the values of a true leader deeper into their hearts and minds. In a session by the rector of the institute, Father Alexander Garces, SDP, highlighted the difference between a boss and a leader, saying that a boss commands people to do the work, whereas a true leader leads his people by example and serves his people in whatever he does. Before the leadership camp ended, the leaders got together and drew up their annual plan of the activities for the rest of the year. The program ended with evaluations done by participants, followed by a prayer and farewell led by Mr. Andrew Inape. On March 19, the Dies Natalis of Venerable Augusto Aribat, his whole life was the embodiment of the gospel expression, I did not come to be served, but to serve, Gospel of Mark, chapter 10, verse 45. In fact, he did not refuse any type of work and indeed sought the humblest services himself. In all his positions of responsibility, especially as director for several years and in various houses, Father Aribat is an exemplary Salesian, always present among young students in the courtyard, as in the chapel, at Catechism school, as in the infirmary, always attentive to everything and everyone. He was declared venerable by Pope Francis on 8 July 2014. The first edition of the Tourist Animation Technician TIAT course launched by Sol Porto in 2020 resulted in the effective integration of several market participants in work. The group of 18 people aged between 18 and 30 years old who were unemployed without school or vocational occupation was the challenge of training proposed by Sol Porto, which developed training to prepare them adequately to face both the work market and the challenges of society. So viewers, with that we have come to the end of today's edition. See you again tomorrow at the same time and in the same channel. Thank you for joining us.